Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started.
All right, everybody. I guess you know what that whistle means. That's right. A whistle like that can only mean one thing. Good old McConaughey dropping by for a visit. I'll tell you what, everybody. I got one message to tell you today, and that's why I stopped by. And that is, you give a man a fishing rod. I'll tell you what, he's gonna catch you a pretty big fish. You give that same man a fishing boat, well, that same man, well, he's gonna go water skiing.
I'm pretty sure that's not how the saying goes.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm McConaughey, and what comes out of these lips goes straight to God's ears.
Okay, Matthew. Thank you for your time, and it's time to move it along.
Well, hell, son, I was already done. McConaughey out.
Okay.
Doggies. That's right, brothers and sisters. It's McConaughey taking over. No, it's not McConaughey taking over, everybody. It's me, your good old friend Preston, back for another episode. And yes, McConaughey did butcher that quote. I'm going to update this to make it gender inclusive. It is, give a person a fish and you feed them for a day. Teach that person how to fish and you feed them for a lifetime. McConaughey was close enough, but I thought I would use that good old-fashioned quote. You know, nothing like a good old aphorism. Nothing like a good old aphorism to spark an idea for a podcast. Indeed, that is true, and we are going to play off of that good old-fashioned saying, an aphorism. And what does that mean? Well, you know, you don't want to have people doing everything for you all the time. I think we live in an era right now where you outsource a lot of your stuff. And even on, you know, art marketplaces or social media, you can hire companies to do your posts. You can schedule posts. You can have, you know, people, you know, doing likes and growing your audience for you. And you can have people coming up with a plan for you to how to grow your YouTube channel, how to grow your social media channel. Or you can have, like, on a lot of these places, you can hire somebody to upload your content if you want, and you can hire people to package your work and send it off, so on and so forth. And I'm going to tell you why that is bad. That's bad, okay? I'm going to tell you why I don't think that that is a good strategy long term. I know we're all busy. I know we want to, you know, take the path of least resistance. I get it. I do that sometimes. Every once in a while, you're just too busy and you get to that place where you need help. That's a good place to be, but that's not where a lot of us are that we're talking to right now. We're not at that place where we just have so much work or so many sales that we cannot handle them on our own. I had a record one time of selling 27 paintings in a month. And yeah, it was busy. I was really busy. I had to do all my normal creation, all my normal gallery stuff and putting stuff online and uploading new work and all that. And I had to package and ship all these paintings. Yes, it was a very busy time, but I even handled that on my own. I'm not saying that's a good idea. We can get burnt out. But what I am saying is I think before we get to that level, we should really be focusing on learning these skills and, you know, basically learning how to fish so we can feed ourselves for a lifetime. Because some of these places are not going to be around forever. Some of these social media platforms are not going to be around forever. Some of these art marketplaces and galleries are not going to be around forever. And, you know, a lot of them, just to start here with shipping, most art marketplaces will handle shipping for you. They'll contact the shipping company. They will, handle all of the pricing and the documentation and all that. And they'll just send you a label and boom, you just got to learn how to box it up and ship it out. Well, I learned the hard way. Back in my day, we didn't have that kind of service. When I started out on Art Finder and on my website and doing all my own stuff, I had to learn how to price things on my own. I had to learn how to kind of weigh things and figure out package size and go to USPS and figure out how to internationally ship stuff. And I've gotten so good at that over hundreds and hundreds of pieces that I've shipped on my own that I can now just eyeball something, or I can just, somebody can give me dimensions or a size or a shape or weight. I can be like, oh yeah, it's going to be this much to this country. It's going to be this much to this country. Within the States, it's going to be this much. If you're going to, to the other coast, it's going to be this much. If you're going within California, I can guess all of that and guesstimate that stuff based on experience now very easily. Like I just shipped a few pieces to London and from Art Finder, and they were going off of my system where I basically just come up with my own shipping tables, and I had done these based off of my own experience. There's no calculator that I'm using. I was just like, okay, if it's this size, if it's this weight, approximately it's going to be about this much. And I was within $2 on one and within 10 of the other one. And that's even with shipping prices going up recently. So I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just telling you that to say, well, look, this is a skill to have. I mean, if you sell something on your website, if you're used to shipping online, like on an online marketplace that handles all your shipping, and then you sell something on your website or you sell something from word of mouth, you're not going to know what to do. And yeah, you can figure it out, you can do this, but I just think it's good to have these skills and to build off of that. And then if you have that skill and then you want to outsource it, or then one of these companies wants to take over, that's fine. But at least you have that foundational skill to fall back on. So, it's not like you're just going to be flying blind if all this goes away. I love to have that peace of mind for me personally. I actually do prefer to have an art marketplace handle shipping, because it's just a load off of my brain, and they calculate it and they handle all the insurance and stuff. And that way, if something happens, it doesn't come back on me, it comes back on them. So it is definitely very convenient to do it that way. But I know that if all that goes away, or if it goes through a different channel, I can handle all this on my own. And I know, and I've done it many, many times. And I think we can apply that to so many other avenues and so many other aspects of our art business and even our life. We really live in a world now, and I think I've said this before, but we live in a world where everything is specialized. There used to be people like my dad, or like even me. I've learned how to do these things because it was important to me. I wanted to be kind of a jack of all trades. I wanted to be able to have a foundational knowledge of some stuff instead of just going and be, the refrigerator broke. Well, got to call a handyman. Well, no, now I know enough to troubleshoot and go in there and look at stuff myself and figure out what needs to happen. And if then I don't know how to do it, then I can call a specialist. That's a bad example, but anything that has to do with around the house, the lawn, your car, obviously the art world, anything that has to do with planning a shipment or planning a framing or planning some sort of strategy with that in the studio, it's good to learn and have a little bit of a trial by fire or trial and error, because then you're going to really know. You're not going to have to always be like asking people and flying blind. Like when I learned some of these things, I was comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that is another skill that goes along with this. I think we all want to know that somebody else can handle something for us. But if we get comfortable with being uncomfortable, then we have to learn. And a lot of times with this stuff, it's like getting a table in the mail that you have to put together, or a desk that you have to put together. They give you all these schematics, and it's really intimidating when it comes out. And a lot of times my wife will be like, well, let's look at all this. And I'm like, no, I can figure this out. I'm intuitive enough. And sometimes you do need to refer back to it. But if you just kind of take a deep breath and look at it and use your problem solving skills and the common sense, you can kind of figure out how stuff fits together. And once you do that, you're like, oh, this wasn't as difficult as I thought it was. And then you build that skill. And we can apply that to art. We can apply that to marketing. We can apply that to shipping. We can even apply that to how we get materials and how we build materials and how we can push ourselves outside of the box of how we create stuff. Like, I'm a painter, but I've painted on all different kinds of surfaces. I've used all different kinds of mediums. I've used acrylics. I've used gouache. I've used oil. I've, painted on windows. I've painted on screens. I've painted on wood. I've done assemblage. I've done like every different kind of thing, resin, you name it, I've done it. And it makes me feel really confident in myself to be able to be like, okay, not only can I push myself to try a different creative approach, but also if something were to come to me, like let's say somebody wanted to commission me to do an artwork and they told me, I want it like this, but I want it on some crazy material or surface, or they want me to kind of think outside the box, I can go, yeah, I've done that enough. I know how to do that. I feel confident in that. Whereas maybe you'll freak out and screw it up if you have never tried any of these things, or if you've never pushed yourself to develop any of these skills. And you might even say, well, I don't really work that way. I'm going to pass you on to another artist who does this. And then you lose a possible commission and you lose a possible collector down the road who might collect multiple pieces from you. So I think it's just really good to push ourselves to develop some of these skills and to get some of these foundational things under our belt so we can then have that to fall back on and also just to build off of. Now, I'm not saying, obviously, that if you're super busy and you need, like let's say it's just social media. I've learned all of these skills on my own. I've learned how to build a website. I do go through a service now and I pay art storefronts for their templates and stuff, but I have designed websites in the past, so I have that foundational knowledge and I know how to do stuff on social media. I know how to market things. I know how to push my own content out there and to use AI and to use all the appropriate tags and all these things. But if you do get to a place where you're too busy and you need to offload this to a company, or you want to use a different marketing strategy, you want to use like a marketing firm to put together a packaging and then, push your stuff out there and do all that legwork or grunt work, that's great. I think that's wonderful. But it still is even more powerful when you have the know-how to do that on your own. Like you could put all that together. You could put out the email newsletter with all the links and all the razzmatazz, and you can make it look great and you can make it highly functional and you can do a Google campaign, or you can buy a campaign on Instagram or Facebook and have it really dialed in to your audience. Having that knowledge is really powerful. And then if you get too busy, or let's say you've just done it for a long time and now you've got some extra money to burn through, or you can use some of this money as a strategy, great. Then you can start hiring people to do stuff, do some of this legwork and push you to the next level. But like I said, if all that goes away, if we have a zombie apocalypse, it's good to know that you know how to do all this stuff and that you can kind of survive on your own if you needed to. And you can put all these things together and put it out into the world on your own if you need to. I still like to fall back on my own stuff. I will outsource very rarely, but I mainly do everything myself. That goes from the podcast on, like podcast, doing this, creating my own content, editing the podcast, marketing the podcast, doing all the descriptions, doing all the SEO, doing all of that. Same with the website, same with my social media. I create all my own work. I ship all my own work. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying it's possible to do all these things and have the time to do all these things. And yes, it can become taxing if you get too busy. But it's still a good thing to have under your belt, like I said. And then if you do get too busy or you want to start strategizing a different way, then you can start outsourcing to other people. So I think we get the idea here, and you can apply this to so many different aspects of your life and your art career. So just start thinking about some of these things. Let's build these skills so that not only do we have the input to give to a person that we're hiring, we can actually do it on our own if need be. And not only is this an important skill to have, but I think it just gives you a lot more confidence in yourself moving forward. It just makes you a more confident artist. So reach out to me on social media if you want to, and let me know what you're excited to develop, what skills you're excited to develop. And let me know if you agree with me on this, or if you don't agree with me on that. That's okay too. Looking forward to bringing you some new episodes in the coming weeks, and hope everybody's doing well out there. Looking forward to seeing some of you in person, and for all the rest of you, communicating online as usual. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Well, hey there, little buddy. I did realize I said that wrong. So do me a favor. Give McConaughey another try, would you?
All right. Just do it.
Well, all right then. Give a man a fishing rod. That man's gonna catch you a fish. Take that man's shirt off. He's gonna get tan. Now that's as good as gold, everybody. McConaughey out.
Oh, brother. You know what? Just whatever. You nailed it. Mumford, out. Damn it, I can't do it.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.